Thank you, Mr. Vishnu Chandra, Mr. Parminder Pal Singh Sandhu, and Dr. Vasudevan for joining. We're also expecting Ms. Hepzibah from Bangalore Smart City to join. Hopefully, she will be here soon. Today's panel, the topic of today's panel discussion is GIS, a technology foundation for a resilient nation in times of COVID-19. So as I mentioned, our esteemed panel members are Ms. Hepzibah who's the Managing Director of Bangalore Smart City Limited, Shri Vishnu Chandra, he's a DDG and Group Head, Remote Sensing and GIS at National Informatics Center. And Dr. D. Vasudevan, he's a General Manager at Varanasi Smart City Limited. And Shri Ravi Bhagat from Government of Punjab, who's the Special Secretary and CEO of PSEGS, was expected to join, but he could not, owing to some other engagements. So Mr. Parminder Pal Singh Sandhu, who's Additional Secretary cum Director, Department of Governance Reforms in Government of Punjab, he's here with us today. Please join me in welcoming our esteemed panelists for this discussion. I'll just give an overview about the session and what we are going to discuss today. See, COVID-19 has certainly impacted our lives. It has posed unprecedented challenges for citizens as well as government authorities and healthcare professionals. The last 4 months have brought about so much change which otherwise would have taken decades. GIS technology has been used in management of diseases like malaria, dengue, etc. in the past, and also played a key role in eradication of polio globally. The value of GIS in healthcare has been recognized by the world when it came to deal with COVID-19. GIS has been extensively used for understanding the spread of COVID-19, assessment of healthcare infrastructure, identification of gaps, taking decisions and actions to control the spread of the disease, analyzing the impact of the actions taken, selection of locations of testing centers, quarantine facilities, new temporary hospitals, etc., contact tracing, management of quarantine centers and movement of migrants, and many more. As I had shared yesterday, there are many states and government organizations who have used GIS extensively in various ways to manage the impact, reduce the impact of the pandemic on their cities and states and areas of their departments and the communities. Now, as the monsoons are picking strength, we may also face the challenges of flooding, landslides, and outbreak of other diseases which happen as usual every year. So GIS becomes a foundational technology for responding to such disasters and in recovery and rehabilitation activities. Esri ArcGIS technology is helping many states and central ministries in being resilient. NDMA and state disaster management departments in Kerala, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, and several remote sensing centers and NIC have been working in these areas and supporting communities in the best possible manner. You as the leaders from government organizations face such challenges every now and then. The audience would like to hear from you how GIS is helping you in managing such situations, how this technology supported you in responding to COVID-19 and other similar situations. So before I proceed with the panel discussion, I would like to give a short profile of each of the esteemed panelists that we have here. We have Shri Vishnu Chandra ji. He is DDG and Group Head, Remote Sensing and GIS. He's responsible for Utility Mapping Divisions, Urban Development Division, Labor and Employment Informatics Division, Environment and Forest Information Division, and support to ministries of coal, power, and non-renewable energy. Vishnu ji is also a member of Board of Directors at Geospatial Delhi Limited, Government of Delhi. We have Mr. Sandhu. He is Mr. Parminder Pal Singh Sandhu. He is Additional Secretary cum Director, Department of Governance Reforms, Government of Punjab. He's BTech from Punjab Technical University and Master in Public Policy from Harvard University. Mr. Sandhu has implemented many IT projects in the last 3 years for the state government, which includes automation of citizen-centric services, direct benefit transfer, and has been instrumental in starting M-governance in the state. He is well known in the state for his efforts in improving efficiency and effectiveness in various departments at state and district level. Then we have Mr. D. Vasudevan. He's the General Manager, PNC at Varanasi Smart City Limited. Dr. Vasudevan is a civil engineer with additional qualifications in various streams of computer science and IT. He has more than 40 years of professional experience in total and 20 years in information technology and consultancy services. He is currently the General Manager and Head Information Systems, Varanasi Smart City Limited. And later we may have Ms. Hapshiba Korlapati joining us. She is Managing Director of Bangalore Smart City Limited and Special Officer BBMP COVID-19 War Room. She has previously served in various capacities of Deputy Commissioner of Udupi, Managing Director, Special Purpose Vehicle of Hubballi Dharwad Smart City, and Mangaluru Corporation Commissioner. She is a postgraduate in Geography from Delhi School of Economics, University of Delhi. So with this, I would like to start the session. And let me start with a question to Mr. Vishnu Chandraji. Vishnuji, you have built a very powerful platform at NIC, which is Bharat Maps, and it's based on ST technology. How that has been used in helping other government organizations in tackling COVID-19?
Thank you, Agendraji. It is an honor to be a part of this panel discussion for ISRI User Conference. NIC is providing ICT service to government at various levels since last more than 30 years. And Geospatial Services is one of the major portfolio of NIC offerings. And for a period of time, we have established a platform called Bharat Maps, a multi-layer GIS platform. In fact, a lot of support who has contributed in terms of content. And in terms of technology partnership, ISRI has also played a major role. NIC is not by mandate is a data creator or data owner. We work from a service delivery side or from user read side. So with that point of view, we brought over the period of time data from Survey of India, their 50,000 scale base, built village boundary, built Gram Panchayat boundary with the help of Ministry of Panchayati Raj, LGD directory, and further added base data of major 6 layers, which includes transportation, river and drainages, settlements, forest, using high resolution satellite imagery in 10,000 scale. So our platform is what you call LGD compliance as far as the administrative boundaries are concerned. It is also global standard compliance related to OGC services and all that. So we can consume any global services and national standard services also. So using this platform, what we have enabled map as a service. So primary objective was how to geo-enable various workflows in the government, whether COVID or non-COVID, any application. So what we have done in many applications related to COVID, whether it is an issue of migrant worker, whether it is a mapping of health infrastructure, contact tracings, or for example, even public grievances which are coming from ground related to COVID. Somewhere a PDS ration is not reaching, somewhere some other facility is not reaching. So there are existing portals also dealing with public grievances, like we have in UP Jan Sunwai portal for Chief Minister. So up to village boundary, map service has been integrated with the workflow, and the grievances thematically is represented, and cluster of villages and cluster mapping of villages is facing a specific problem related to COVID has been put as information at top of it. And then concerned agencies were asked to take remedial actions. So these kind of things have been, map as a service has been given from a GIS cloud, and then we have also given, NIC is spearheading Arogya Setu also. So there were requirement in various projects related to reverse geocoding. So from an ICGIS platform, the LGD compliant reverse geocoding and geocoding services were also given. Services to ICMR for various mapping, disaster management agencies, state disaster management agencies, particularly for a state like Uttarakhand, Puducherry, even Chandigarh UT has been given. So this is what, in nutshell, as far as the COVID is concerned. But as such, we are doing a lot of projects for mapping, for GIS services, as well as for utility mapping. In case of large scale mapping, we are setting up complete course for Greater Noida Authority, One Map Greater Noida, where including COVID services, entire utility services, utility mapping, planning services have been put on GIS platform. Similarly, we are also part of with Survey of India Swamitva scheme for creation of Gram Panchayat development plan, and even for distribution of property card in Abadi area, where the base map data built by Survey of India will be integrated with MIS systems of land records, whether it is a Bhunaksha, whether it is any DLRMP land record projects, and any kind of property card generation. So these are the activities. So we are trying to give a universal geospatial service using Bharat Map for activities for governance application, which are now, as you see, world is moving towards more complex and non-linear situation. And COVID-like situation, which require surveillance, disease surveillance with a lot of geo-visualization, geo-analytics, and also integration of concept of medical geography, how disease move with respect to various parameters, man-made, natural parameter, say disease like dengue, malaria, how it moves, the influence of wind velocity, the wind direction, and so, for example, the waterborne disease, how it will spread because of contamination of water, chemical as well as bacteriological. These are the areas where geospatial technology and surveillance or disease mapping can be used.
Thank you very much. I think you brought out very good angle that Bharat Maps has been used in many, many areas, and COVID is just one of them. And NIC has been supported various disaster management agencies, even otherwise, by providing data which you build, which you source from, which you integrate on the platform that you offer. So that's a great service offering to different government departments, and it's helping many departments in improving the service that they offer to their citizens and within the different departments of the government. So thank you for sharing that insight. And now coming to Dr. Vasudevan. Dr. Vasudevan, you are from Varanasi, which is a Prime Minister's constituency. So I'm sure your smart city project must be under limelight for most of the time. So how do you tell us something about that? How you have used GIS technology in the smart city project, and how's this project rolling out, and you know, what are your experiences so far?
First, thanks for the opportunity. And you know, being Honorable Prime Minister's parliamentary constituency is one aspect of Varanasi's geopolitical importance. But even otherwise, Varanasi is known as Banaras and Kasi, is considered as one of the oldest cities in the world and has rich historical, cultural, and spiritual heritage. That is the side of the glory. But on the other side, the civic administration like municipal corporation and even our Varanasi smart city faces numerous challenges because it has got very, very narrow streets, aged utility infrastructure. There are no maps or drawings of any utilities, no network diagrams, and it has always posed a challenge in delivering and maintaining the civic services. Luckily, we developed a good GIS solution for the city well in time. So when we designed the smart solutions as part of our smart city initiative, we had to cut a fine balance between technology and preserving the cultural heritage and identity of the city, which I believe we managed to do very well. It's so obvious no smart solution can be built without GIS. So GIS is a cross-cutting and a foundation technology among all other IoTs, Internet of Things, and all smart solutions we built for the city. For example, built integrated traffic management system. We have integrated city surveillance systems with cameras all over the city. We have, importantly, an integrated solid waste management system. I will talk about detailed data, and the environmental management system, and integrated variable messaging system. All these smart solutions were integrated with the city's GIS-based map, making it work better. And all of you are quite sure that location-based visualization is so important to any decision-making process for a local government. And this was well served with the RGIS solution adopted and implemented by us as part of the Smart City initiative. Just to give an example, our dustbins all over the city are fitted with GPS and volume sensors. So we get a real-time data about the dustbins and how much garbage is getting filled up. So the moment any dustbin crosses a threshold limit, the system generates an alert and it goes to the mobile of the sanitary inspectors on a geolocation basis. So they are able to see on the map. The pickup vehicles are aligned. Even the route navigation and the optimization of the routes are immediately decided using the GIS analytical tools, which is the standard feature in ArcGIS. Also, we are able to also decide which area decides more bins, what is the frequency of emptying, all those analytical information we are able to do, and everything with the real-time alerts and with the very powerful GIS tools we are able to optimally utilize. So, the city, Varanasi city, at once so infamous for the garbage and has now bagged the National Smart City Award for the best SWM practices. You could see that would not have been possible without the smart solutions and without the use of ArcGIS as our foundation cross-cutting technology.
Thank you for elaborating on various initiatives that you've taken in the smart city. Yes, we've heard a lot about your solid waste management and traffic management solutions, which integrate what we call IoT, different kind of sensors, which collect the information and feed into a GIS map, and it's visualized and decisions are taken based on that. And a lot of automation has been achieved by way of that. So that's really great. Mr. Sandhu, you have a lot of focus on e-governance. Would you share with the audience that what are your major initiatives and how have you used GIS in all these areas?
So, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're audible.
Yeah. So since last year, Punjab has, in fact, it has been a biggest adopter of GIS. So we started with PWD. So in Public Works Department, in fact, we created a GIS road network for the entire state. So that means our network now covers around 72,000 kilometers of roads. And we are using the GIS for decision making, helping us in decision making to plan for new roads, extending or repairing the existing roads. And in fact, the most important, the old government buildings, which are in the states, which are under the control of the PWD department, but are never mapped. They're all now geotagged and are being mapped. In addition, in our state Mandi board, we have started a 3D mapping of mandis. So Punjab is pretty famous for its procurement system. In fact, we procure around 40% of the national wheat in the pool. So Punjab is one of the largest producers. So for that, our procurement system and mandis are very, very important. So we're doing the 3D mapping of those mandis. So and in addition, our mandi board is actually, they have a huge network of roads. So building on the PWD platform, they are adding all their roads in the road management system. So we will be able to check the road conditions with a click of button. And we are in fact also working on a mobile app, which will be given to citizens. They will be able to upload the road conditions, in fact, along with the photo, location data, so that we'll be able to see that where the problem lies and how we can rectify the stuff. Coming to COVID, in fact, I believe that we are one of the very, very, I'll say the best ones in the country. In fact, to be honest, in addition to Arogya Setu, ours is the only app, COVA app, which is pretty popular. It has around 40 lakh downloads in the state. So we started with this coronavirus alert app, which we call it COVA. So we started using with the disease tracking, with separate admins for public as well as for ourselves. Then citizen is able to see the nearest patient, the home quarantined individuals, the hotspots. So we are also we are tracking, using the GPS and cellular data. So we are trying to map the disease across the state and establishing the contact tracing. So at the same time, we have used, in fact, we were in touch with Bangalore also. So we are, mapping the whole infrastructure, the hospital infrastructure, whatever is required. Do we have the sufficient stuff or not? The beds are there or not? The kits are there or not? So we are doing on the with the help of GIS. And the last one, in fact, this Drona Maps team, they helped us a lot. And we followed this, the John Hopkins dashboard model. So we actually did the contrast tracing, and we kind of displayed everything in our COVA app. So which actually gives us a big boost. So now it's pretty popular. I'll say almost everything is related to COVID is now being done on the COVA app. So anyone who wants to move into Punjab or go out of Punjab has to get a pass issued on the COVA app. So for us, in fact, the GIS has helped a lot along with this app.
Right. So, yeah, a lot of good things you've spoken about. I think your initiatives about roads and old government buildings are quite important for governance. And so is the 3D mapping of mandis and which help in wheat procurement. So those are the initiatives why people acknowledge your work so much in the state. And the work done by Punjab in terms of COVID management using GIS has also been very impressive. Like you mentioned about doing the asset, getting the record of all the healthcare assets in GIS, which helped you find out what more is required, and you could move things around or procure new assets. So I think that's a very important use of GIS, and your app is also quite well known. And Drona Maps is one of our partners who has helped in creating the whole solution. So that's a fantastic usage of technology in government of Punjab. For the benefit of audience in COVID situation, there are many states who have done a lot of good work. In fact, most of the states, and to mention like Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, also have used GIS maps to identify the containment zones and identifying the areas where the quarantine facility should be built up, or where the new hospitals should be declared as COVID hospitals, depending on the population and the spread. So GIS has helped quite a lot. So coming back to Vishnuji, you have a very deep knowledge. I mean, you're acknowledged as like a guru of GIS in the community, and a lot of government ministries and departments have very high regard, and you advise many of them. So how do you see our country's preparedness to meet the challenges like COVID? We have other disasters also which happen from time to time. And what recommendations would you like to make?
Thank you, Guru. Every day is learning. So calling me Guru is but let me tell you, see, COVID-like pandemic puts a lot of responsibility on everyone, decision makers, citizens, planners, on everybody. And we have to create an ecosystem where you can enable collaboration and cooperation among various stakeholders. What you call, in fact, Jack was talking about same thing in his plenary speech. How to bring geospatial connectivity to bring digital transformation. So that is the key part of it. Now, Mr. Parminder Singh ji was talking about Punjab road thing. In fact, we are proud to partner with Punjab government for that. There we have done a collaboration segment including Mandi Road, and geo-enable the road code directory, which could be used by multiple stakeholders to put their attributes. So ultimately, the editing in collaboration, and that has become a resource or data infrastructure to be shared among various stakeholders. So that kind of practices, we may have to bring some policy reforms for sharing and access for that. How API-based services or data exchange to geo-enable connectivity for transformation, whatever institutional arrangements and policy reforms required, that has to be done. So this is not my recommendation. You have to bring subject experts to understand if locust disaster is coming, in which direction it will move under environmental parameters and influence. So you have to bring maybe agriculture scientists, pest experts into the picture, and become part of what we call geospatial network. So this is my recommendation, and this will not happen in one day. It has to be practiced. Again, bring it as a part of institutional mechanism. Thank you.
Nice. Thank you, Vishnuji. I think the network was not very good, so we had breaks in between. But I've been able to understand that you spoke about collaboration that you made with the government of Punjab and worked together on the road projects, and also you made some very good recommendations in terms of policy reforms which are required for sharing of data between different government departments. so between different departments. So that's a good one. And also geo enablement of various data sets and different community applications, and ensuring that that those are made available to different departments is also a very, very good suggestion. And I think collaboration is a big message that you have given, and that's what you have been doing, working with different government organizations. Earlier, you gave example of Greater Noida Authority, utility mapping, DLRMB. So those are all working with Panchayati Raj, and whether it's Department of Posts or Health Ministry or Power Ministry. So those are the areas where NIC has played a key role. And I think in case of I think data sharing is an important aspect in case of disaster management. If there is a cyclone, or if there is a storm, or if there's a flooding, of course, if we have data available which can quickly be made available to the authorities who are working on rehabilitation and recovery, it can be very helpful. So if that data is geo-enabled, it helps even more. And if that data is available through a digital map on a mobile device, that helps even more. So I think those are some of the things which can do more in the country to enable the usage of technology to a larger extent. Mr. Vasudevan seems to have left the room. Mr. Vasudevan, can you hear me? Okay, Mr. Sandhu, you have spent some time in. You've been playing a very key role in Government of Punjab in terms of e-governance reforms. So I'm sure there are many areas where you have worked, and you created new things. In fact, in creating a lot of citizen-centric services, and also direct benefit transfer. So some of these things can really be game changer. If in a country for a long time, citizens sometimes have to struggle to get services from any government department, be it related to property or any other services in terms of payment of bills, or getting some approvals from the government. And also direct benefit transfer helps the poorer section of the society, so that without money going into different hands, it reaches their bank accounts. So would you like to say something about that? How did you implement, and what are the unique features of some of these schemes in your state?
So I will say one important thing is for DBT, we were again one of the leaders in Aadhaar seeding. So since DBTs are based on Aadhaar, so we did very well in Aadhaar seeding, and the DBT stuff worked well. Secondly, Punjab is pretty well 4G. So in almost all of the Punjab, we have 4G, even in the remotest locations. So that was another thing I'll say. Third, I will still say, and I must admit that we still lag behind some southern states. They are better placed than us in terms of maybe the service delivery, or in terms of digitization, or in terms of particularly the JS related services. So I will say, in fact, now we worked hard. Now still we are working. We are trying to create a enterprise level architecture for the whole state, so that all the departments, all the services, everything comes on a single platform. So it should be smoothly, without bothering the citizen, without asking him for multiple interactions, for multiple documents, for multiple times of every time, like coming and going to government offices, paying bribes here and there. So we are trying to stop all these things. But still, I will say that the most important part still remains with the help of the private sector. So like I have seen, we have created India's tax. So it's a very good public infrastructure. So we can build on this. We have India's built many things on this. Similarly, Esri as a platform, or similar platforms like this, which are actually help us enabling the things, on a geotech based. These things can help a lot. And to be honest, I'll tell you this: these guys, the Drona Map team, They simply visited my office for some other thing one day, and we discussed it. We started it, and now Kova is one of the very, very, important and the used app in our region. Fine. So one initiative with Drona Map and with the help of Esri, you guys give us this. Now you guys are, I think, stopped now, but it went for 3-4 months. So my suggestion would be, particularly the private players, the players who have this kind of technology, they should come and collaborate. The way our colleague from NIC said, that you guys should come along with the government, do the collaborations, help us understand, because for us the Drona Map experience was really, really very good. So we are ready. We have a Financial Commissioner Revenue on the whole digitization of cadastral maps. So we should work on those things. So support from private sector and at a reasonable price is very, very good if you guys can align. It helps because, if you come at a reasonable price, help us, actually you get a volume. Problem with us is we are unable most of the time to justify the rates for single application, and we are unable to go to the multiple applications. So it's always better that if private sector comes, collaborates with us, give us some experience for a few months, and then we can improve that engagement over a longer period of time for multiple departments, for whole of the government. Yeah.
I think very, very good points you made, and collaboration between government and private sector is the key for success. When we can join hands and bring power of both sides together, and it becomes one single unit, that's when we get fantastic, important results. So, Mr. Sandhu, you mentioned about Drona Maps. For the benefit of audience, I would like to just give a little bit more background about Drona Maps. They are a Esri partner. They are a startup company based in Gurugram, near Delhi, and they joined. Esri India had a startup program which we've been running for last several years, and Drona Map joined that program a few years ago, and they have created several applications using Esri technology. And when the COVID-19 came up, they quickly prepared a solution, and they went to a few states and they offered that solution, and it's running in Punjab and few more states very successfully. And it's a very innovative solution which they have built. Esri as a company believes in working with a lot of partners. Globally, we have about 3,000 partners. Yesterday, when Jack was speaking, he shared some of the slides which had names of some partners. In India, we also have we have fairly large number of partners. We supported about 85 startup companies. We are still working with them closely. We have about 25 to 30 Indian ISV companies that we are supporting. And then we have a lot of resellers and value-added resellers also, and SI partners who help us in reaching out to market in a larger manner. So Esri believes a lot in working with partners, and that's a culture we have in terms of go-to-market. Now coming to Dr. Vasudevan, how are GIS tools used in Varanasi for addressing the situation of the pandemic? You had some cases there. So since you are a part of Smart City, I'm sure you got involved in managing the pandemic situation also. So how did GIS tools help you in doing that?
Well, very much involved. And COVID-19 pandemic was a testing time for the entire world. So Varanasi is no exception. And today, just before I came for this, my dashboard was showing 937 total number of cases, and about some 356 positive cases still existing, and rest will become cured and gone home, and we have about some 26 deaths. Well, our integrated command and control center, which was already functional, really came into a rescue for this COVID-19 situation. Overnight, when the decision was taken, I remember it was on 31st March, the divisional commissioner, district magistrate, everybody suddenly came to our integrated command and control center. And 7 o'clock, a decision was taken that we will convert this into a war room. And we worked overnight. Believe me, next day, 7 o'clock, the whole thing has been converted into a COVID-19 war room, and it continued to be so even today. And that is really having an integrated command and control center gave us an edge to fight the pandemic. Undoubtedly, we have already mentioned that we have GIS at the backbone of foundation technology cutting across all of the technology. It has come to our rescue. So within a shortest possible time, we could map all the monitoring parameters and developed a very, very meaningful dashboards. So I must thank, honestly, History India and especially colleagues like Narendra Thapar, who have been very, very helpful. They walked an extra mile. So they came back and assisted in every possible way. They came with a proven data models, tried elsewhere. They provided the technical assistance and the support of the history staff. So we were up and running in less than 48 hours with a very, very useful dashboards. Our dashboards are a super duper hit, and it is in the national headlines. And this is being used by the entire district administration, from the divisional commissioner to district magistrate to the chief medical officer. Everyone referred to a dashboard. I've shared a web app also through which they could access. So every day, the first thing all the officers do is look at our GIS dashboards. So what is the score? It is not a good thing to look at a score, but really that's the reality. So that has been, it has very well served. And it continues to serve the needs of the city even today. So today, the district administration, especially the health officials, are able to take a very quick and effective decisions to handle the emergencies, analyzing the vulnerable hotspots, containment areas, and because the real-time data is flowing, dashboards are all the time live and updated, and our GIS has got so much of good inbuilt analytical tools. So that has been very useful in analyzing, and this is really the good case study and the good use put to our GIS. I have never seen, we never realized such a situation will come, and we will be able to make use of our GIS as a powerful tool to serve an emergency situation like this. I talked about that, we have heard about the flood and other things, fire and all those things. We never had a data model for a pandemic situation that we could develop with the help of history, and we could put to use. Just to give another example, apart from the medical side, there were small things like a total lockdown period. Nothing was available. The medicines, the groceries, the vegetables. So the district administration walked an extra mile, arranging the municipal corporation was supplying the vegetables. We have enrolled the medical shop cleaners who can go and deliver. Then there were complaints. So our area is not served, so it is too far away. So we again used our GIS analytical tool, proximity analysis, to quickly point out what are the gray areas where these services are not available. So we informed the concerned zonal officers and other officials. We could quickly enroll more people to serve these gray areas and bridge these gaps. It was a wonderful thing. Again, the very, very practical use which touched the citizens. My colleague in Punjab talked about a mobile app. We also developed our own mobile app called Safe Kasi. We started developing it right in March. Again, we integrated with GIS, and it has been a super duper hit for the citizens of Varanasi. So there are 2.5 lakhs downloads within the city, and even now they use it for getting all the informations. So going backwards, we now wonder, had there not been integrated GIS solution in our war room, how we could have managed this pandemic situation? Would have been impossible. So I would really say that our GIS has really played, our GIS solutions have played a very, very technology role in solving the problems of the citizen and the community. And we remain grateful to history for supporting us in this. And our GIS dashboards, the case study of how Varanasi has used GIS to tackle the pandemic situation, is today a national headline. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Vasudevan. So Vishnu Chandra ji wants to leave. Just would like to make any comment before you go, sir?
Very, very informative, very, very enriching panel discussion. And we have to move together. We have to cooperate and collaborate and enable geospatial as a network. Thank you. That is the only message which I want to take.
Thank you, and I think that you captured it very well, and very insightful discussion and a lot of good experience which is being shared by the esteemed panelists today. A few points which I have noted here, which are important, are I think collaboration was very important. Collaboration between different government departments, collaboration between private sector and public sector, ensuring that data is available to different stakeholders in a timely manner and with geo enablement. And the biggest lesson we've learned in this time of COVID-19 is that if we decide to something, it happens. Dr. Vasudevan shared the example that in the evening they decided that there should be a war room, and the next morning they had a war room. And we have seen similar success stories. What I would say that stories from different departments and the similar things were shared by Mr. Sandhu also, that they did so many things in a very short time. They built an app and launched a mobile app. So I think all these initiatives have helped to some extent various healthcare authorities and government authorities in managing the COVID-19 situation. We are a country where we often have disasters of some kind of the other. To a large extent, we are resilient, and we have seen so many disasters happen, and we quickly come back in a matter of days and weeks. We are up and running again, and so will happen with COVID-19. I hope that sooner than later we will get rid of this pandemic, and the lives will come back to normal, and we all will be able to live and interact and work the way we were doing before the pandemic came. So I would like to thank all the panelists for taking out time and sharing their valuable insights, and I'm sure the audience, which is close to 1,000 people who are listening to this conversation, they get good benefit from all the ideas that you have shared and the experience that you have shared. Thank you, Dr. Vasudevan, Mr. Vishnu Chandra, and Mr. Sandhu for joining. Unfortunately, Ms. Hapshiba could not join, and we probably have another opportunity in future to hear from her. Thank you very much.